Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is UFC Investor. In this video, we're going to be going over UFC 319. I'm going to be talking about my bets and predictions for each of the fights. We're going to be talking about fighters like DDP, Chimaev, Carlos Prates, MVP. So it should be a good set of fights, guys. Let's get started with the first fight. Alright guys, so for the main event, we have Dricus Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Guys, I think this is one of the most anticipated fights of the year. And I think it's one of the most exciting fights of the year for me. I feel like it's like a special card. Even though it's just UFC 319. Yeah, it is a numbered event. But I don't know, there's just something about this card. I think it's just these two guys mostly that I'm really excited for. I would legit pay to see this fight if I mean, I am paying for this fight, I should say. But anyways, I'm picking Plessis, guys. I think he's going to be able to beat him in round 4. I'm siding with the crowd that's saying that Plessis is going to be able to survive those first rounds and drown Chimaev. I do think Chimaev is going to have the advantage. He's going to have the advantage on the ground, but I think when it comes to striking, I think Plessis is going to be able to make it ugly, make it maybe like a cardio battle where technique or skill doesn't really matter, you know. A lot of like clenching, maybe. I'm not too sure. I just know Plessis is not going to make it easy for Chimaev. And I think he's just going to out cardio Chimaev and like just kind of out dog him pretty much. You know, Chimaev is obviously a beast. You guys saw what he did to Robert Whittaker. He pretty much messed up his jaw. And that was kind of like a test for Chimaev to see how good he was. And he kind of obviously really impressed everyone by just running through Whittaker and breaking his face. As for Plessis, though, like I think he just has a lot of really great names under his belt. Sean Strickland twice, Adesanya. You know, that didn't really age too well, at least for Adesanya. Robert Whittaker as well. And then the one fight that kind of stands out to me is when he fought Derek Brunson. There was a corner stoppage in round 2. And I think I remember seeing the clips. I think Brunson was literally just gassed. And I think he was just getting beat up by Plessis. And that was in round 2. So to think of that in a way of fighting style, Brunson is pretty much a grappler. So I think I could have swore Brunson like kind of controlling DDP in the first round, maybe the second round too, but DDP was able to come back and just finish Brunson, or not even finish, just kind of have a corner stoppage, which is pretty crazy to say. I haven't seen one of those, I don't think ever. I don't think I saw that fight live. If I did, I just don't remember. But anyways, guys, I do think Plessis is going to do that to Chimaev and just kind of drown him out and finish him. I don't think his corner is going to throw in the towel for Chimaev. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but I think Plessis is going to get a TKO. I think he's going to out-dog Chimaev and get him in a bad situation and just win the fight somehow. Like I said, Plessis is the underdog at a plus 185. Chimaev is a minus 220. So I kind of agree with the odds. They have grown a little bit. I think they're a little bit closer earlier, or a few days ago, if not like a couple weeks ago. So I'm kind of glad. I'm still picking Plessis no matter how big of an underdog he is. I'm going to be riding with him. I'm going to stop. Well, I'm not going to say I'm stopped doubting him, because I've been picking him in the last few fights. Because ever since he beat Adesanya, I was like, wow, this guy is good, you know. So I'm going to be picking him. I'm going to be riding with Plessis. I will note that some notable fighters also picked Plessis, like Fluffy Hernandez, or Anthony Hernandez, Volkanovski. Who else? I think Arnold Allen. You know, not to say just because of them, like trying to convince you, but that's another reason as to why I'm also picking Plessis. I think there's just kind of like a way of looking at this that you could ignore, like the fight IQ, not even the fight IQ, just the skill or the technicalities. I think Plessis is going to make it ugly and make it a dogfight, and that's what matters. I think Plessis is going to win in that way, and that's why I'm picking him in round 4 TKO finish. Before I did have him in round 3, but I don't know. I don't think Chimaev is going to go out that easy. I think it's going to be really late into the rounds, and maybe even a decision where Plessis takes it just by getting their last rounds. So, regardless, guys, let me know what you guys think about this one. Like I said, this is one of the biggest fights of the year for me. I'm really excited. Comment below if you guys are picking Plessis or Chimaev. If you guys are picking Chimaev, comment below and tell me why I'm wrong. Because I really am just convinced that Plessis is going to beat this guy, guys. So, yeah, guys, I'm excited to see Plessis win. I like this pick. I'm not crazy confident, obviously, because I've seen what Chimaev can do. But I don't know. I'm picking DDP, and I'm not switching my pick. So, okay, guys. So for the co-main event, we have Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. I'm really surprised the UFC doesn't have an image of Aaron Pico, and I'm only saying that because I really think it's already Monday. It's like 5 days from now. This coming Saturday for the fights to start. I'm kind of surprised I don't have an image of him. Here it is on Tapology. As you guys can see, I'm picking Murphy by decision, guys. I don't know. I saw some clips of Aaron Pico fight. Yeah, he looks great. He's a wrestler too, which kind of worries me against Murphy, who's more of a boxer. But I don't know, man. The level of competition Pico has been fighting in Bellator is just not the same. Murphy has been fighting UFC guys pretty much since he started. Not since he started, but at least recently. He's been in a win streak in the UFC compared to Aaron Pico. And Murphy's undefeated. I think he's what, 18-0? Yeah, 16-0 and one draw. And Murphy's never been defeated, and literally in his last 3 fights, Murphy's been winning by unanimous decision versus pretty decent names like Josh Emmett, Dan Ige, Edson Barboza. Then Aaron Pico, on the other hand, he's just been fighting guys in a different organization, which is not at the same level of the UFC. And yeah, he's been finishing guys in round 1, but I don't think Murphy's just going to stand there and bang with him and just kind of trade with him. I think Murphy's going to play the game that he usually does and just kind of outpoints his opponent by dancing around, outstriking him. Maybe Pico might have some big moments and win maybe the first round. Maybe it'll be like a really close second. But I think Murphy's going to be able to, just kind of play his game and win by points. And I'm picking him to win by decision. Right now the odds have Murphy at an underdog again. So this is my second underdog that I'm picking. He's a plus 165. Aaron Pico is a minus 190. And I can see why, I guess I can't really see why, because I'm in my head. I think Murphy should be the favorite, mostly because of the level of competition. So I might revisit this and see more of Aaron Pico fighting, because I have my doubts. I think the level of competition is a big factor here, and I think his name is kind of being overhyped. So I'm still picking Murphy. I'm not crazy confident, but it just logically makes sense to me, and especially after seeing some of these Bellator guys come in and try to fight UFC guys. I'm just not convinced. So I think Murphy's experience and his confidence of being undefeated is going to play a big factor here. So let me know what you guys are picking for this one. I'm picking Murphy to win by decision. Obviously, he's a decision merchant. The last time Murphy got a finish was in 2021. So I think if Murphy just plays his game, I think he should be able to outpoint Aaron Pico. All right, guys. So for this next fight, we have Geoff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Guys, in this one, I'm pretty confident. I'm really liking the Prates pick, guys. I think he's going to finish Neal, man, in round 2. I think maybe in round 3, but I'm picking round 2. I think Prates is going to come back strong. Right now, the odds have Prates at a minus 240. Neal is a plus 205, and I agree with the odds. I think Prates should still be the favorite, even though he came off that loss versus Ian Gary. I think Prates is still going to be, that same guy where he's going to be just as dangerous, just as powerful. And he's going to be fighting Geoff Neal, who's very experienced. He's 16-6. He's only 34 years old, so I kind of forget that Neal's not that old, even though in my head I kind of want to call him an unk. But I don't know. I think Prates is just a different kind of striker. I think if it's just striking, I think Prates is going to win. I don't think Neal is going to be able to outstrike Prates. Maybe he finishes Prates. I just don't see it, though. I don't see him KOing Prates. And I think if they're going to be exchanging, I think Prates is going to be the one finishing Neal. Neal recently came off of a win over RDA, but RDA got a leg injury in round 1, and that was last year in 2024. Before that, he lost to Ian Gary. So both of these guys lost to Ian Gary, and Neal lost by split, but Prates lost by unanimous. So I think that's kind of like playing a big factor here. Maybe people are looking at that. But if you guys remember watching the Prates versus Ian Gary fight, Ian Gary was in trouble in round 3, and he could have arguably lost the fight there if it kept going like a little bit more. So I don't know. I'm not fully convinced that I don't think it's a lock, but I like the Prates pick. It makes sense to me. I think Prates is still on the way up. I think Neal is not Ian Gary, and I don't think Neal is going to be able to use his movement enough to outmaneuver Prates. I think Neal at one point is going to have to face Prates and strike with him. And Neal, I don't think he's going to be able to involve the takedowns too much versus Prates. At least I don't think so. So yeah, guys, in my head, I just don't see Neal winning. I see some people mentioning that Neal could win, so just in case, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and like maybe pick Neal by decision. I'll put like 50 cents on that, hedging. So I think that's the only bet I'll place on Neal, because I don't see him KOing Neal or KOing Prates or submitting Prates. I think Neal, if he were to win, I think he'd win by decision. Kind of the same thing he did that Ian Gary did to Prates. Maybe Neal's going to be able to land some bigger shots in some of the rounds and win those, and then just kind of outlast, or now, at least last until a decision and win that way. But I think if it comes down to just striking, I don't think Neal's going to beat Prates in terms of like finishing him. So I think Prates for sure gets a finish in rounds 2, I think. I don't think he's going to finish Neal in round 1. So I think that's why I'm picking Prates round 2. Maybe round 3, but I'm thinking round 2 makes more sense. So let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So in this next fight, we have Cannonier versus Michael Page, or MVP. Guys, in this one, I think it was pretty straightforward. I think the pick makes sense to me. I think MVP is going to be able to win by decision. And I think it's because of 2 big reasons. The biggest reason being, I do believe that Michael Page is going to have the footwork to stay away from Cannonier and just kind of outpoint him. I think he's just going to outpoint Cannonier and win by decision. I don't think he's going to go like tit for tat with Cannonier and try to finish Cannonier, because Cannonier has some power, obviously. He's a big guy. He's muscular. He's dangerous. And I think MVP knows that, and I think he's just going to be able to outpoint Cannonier and just kind of dance around him, hit him while Cannonier is just trying to stalk him down. I think Michael Page is just going to play that game of the long distance striking, and I think that's just gonna get him the win. I don't think it's gonna be an impressive win. I think it's just gonna be a win by decision. I think it might be unanimous, honestly. I think my MVP, if he gets his game across and he gets his flow, I think he's gonna be able to win more of the rounds, if not all 3, just by outpointing Cannonier. I think Cannonier, if he were to win, I think he could finish MVP. I just don't really see that happening, guys. I don't think he's going to be able to just knock out MVP like flat. I mean, the last time Cannonier, well, actually he did get a finish over RoboCop in round 4. But this is 3 rounds. I don't think cardio is going to be a big factor here, especially for MVP, who has decent cardio, I would say. I don't think he's going to be able to finish MVP in the last 5 fights. 4 of the fights have gone to decision for Cannonier. And one of them went by split. So, like I said, I think MVP wins this by decision. Right now, the odds have MVP by minus 185. Cannonier's a plus 160. And I kind of agree with the odds. I do think it should be kind of close, but not like MVP being a huge like favorite. So I kind of agree with the odds. I like them. I am going to be betting MVP to win. I think I might do a method, because I really do think if MVP wins, it'll be by decision. I don't see him finishing Cannonier. I think this is one of my more confident picks in terms of methods and like specifics. I think Michael Page is going to win by decision, probably unanimously, I would say, if not split. So right now, I'm picking 2 underdogs so far, and MVP is another favorite. So I think MVP takes it. Let me know what you guys think about this one. I just think that MVP's movement is going to get him the win. And I also really, really believe that MVP took this fight because I really think he thinks he's going to win this fight. I saw some interview about him. I think he changed weight classes. I think he went up a weight class. Instead of being at 170, he's at 185 now. So I think that was kind of like how should I put it? Not a political move. I think it was a good move in terms of him trying to get a win, I should say, or whatever that means, I guess. Because he talks about trying to get to the belt, but I really don't think MVP is going to get to the belt, I think he's just trying to get a win, and I think he really thinks he can beat Cannonier. And I kind of agree. So I'm picking him. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So for this next fight, we have Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. This is Kai's return after losing to Alex Pantoja, the champion. He got choked out by Alex Pantoja. And I think in this one, I think he's going to come back for a win, guys. I think Kai Asakura is going to get a win. And I'm not saying just because it's Tim Elliott. I do think Kai Asakura is decent. They didn't put him up against a champion for no reason. I'm picking Asakura to win by decision. At first, I was picking him to win by TKO, which I do very think is still possible. But I don't know. The last time Tim Elliott got knocked out was in 2017. Yeah, Tim Elliott's only been knocked out one time, and that was what? It was literally more than 10 years ago. Holy crap. Yeah, you don't even see it. If you look at his typology, you can't even see where he got knocked out. He's only been getting choked out, arm triangle choke. So, and I don't think Kai Asakura is going to go for submissions here. He usually wins by TKO. And I think that's how he could win. I think he could just outstrike Elliott and just catch him somewhere and finishing him. I had Asakura in round 2 TKO finish, but I think Asakura is going to win by decision more likely. I think Tim Elliott is going to prove to be durable, and I think he's going to take Kai Asakura to decision, but I think Kai is going to just have the bigger moments, the more maybe technical striking than Tim Elliott, who isn't really a striker, I would say. Tim Elliott's more of grappler, maybe a decisionator. Looks like most of his wins come by decision. So I don't know. I just don't see Tim Elliott winning here. I'd be surprised if Tim Elliott won. I'd be like, wow, Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Tim Elliott the guy that had like a wife that like cheated on him with his like training partner? Anyways, so that's that. Tim Elliott right now is an underdog at a plus 240. Kai Asakura is a minus 300. So it kind of makes sense. The odds kind of do make sense as to what I expected. I think Kai Asakura for sure takes this one. Like I said, I would be surprised if Elliott wins. I'm picking Asakura by decision, so let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. Okay, guys, so for this next fight, we have Bobby Green or King Green versus Diego Ferreira. Man, guys, this is a hard pick for me now that when I first looked at it, I kind of knew I was going to pick Bobby Green, and I think I'm going to stick with that pick. I think he could finish Diego Ferreira in the round 2. Ferreira has been finished by strikes in rounds 2 twice in the last 4 years. So I think Bobby Green could be able to replicate that. Right now the odds have Bobby Green at an underdog at a plus 129. Diego Ferreira is a minus 149. So I'm not really too surprised about the odds. I think a lot of that's coming from the fact that Bobby Green just got finished twice in rounds 1 by Mauricio Ruffy and Paddy Pimblett. They both choked him out in round 1, and Ruffy spinning heel kicked him in round 1. And that was like, what, I think that could be the knockout of the year. Ruffy knocked him out in March. That wasn't too long ago, that was what, 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago. So I think that's playing a lot here, but I don't know, man. I think Bobby's gonna come back to a win. I think a lot has to do with that because Bobby was fighting some big names. Mauricio Ruffy from the Fighting Nerds, Paddy Pimblett, obviously he's on the rise. And then before that, he pieced up Jim Miller, who I thought was going to be more of a closer fight. So I think in this one, I think it's going to be kind of like that Jim Miller fight where I think people are going to think it was more close from before it started. And then once it actually starts and they start fighting, I think Bobby Green is going to have the advantage in terms of the striking. Because I think this is going to be a striking match. I don't think Diego Ferreira is going to be able to take Bobby down and control him. I think Bobby's going to be able to stick to the feet and strike with Ferreira. But at that point, I still do have some doubts. Obviously, he got knocked out in round 1 pretty viciously. So it makes you wonder about where Bobby Green's chin is. And then Diego Ferreira, he just lost to Grant Dawson. That's kind of like a different fight. Dawson's more of a grappler, wrestler, controller. And then before that, Diego Ferreira finished 2 guys in rounds 2 by strike and ground and pound, overhand right. In the names of Mateusz Rebecki and Michael Johnson. And that Michael Johnson win really aged well because Michael Johnson just beat up Daniel Zellhuber. So this is why I'm really on the fence because Diego Ferreira isn't really just like a bum, I think he really could beat Bobby, but man, I'm just going to go with my gut here and pick Bobby and hope that he just comes back just as strong and his chin isn't messed up. I'm going to revisit this fight for sure, though, because I'm really, really not sure. I'm picking more Bobby because of my gut. If I'm thinking more logically, I think Ferreira is probably more of the side to pick because of the recent wins that he has over those 2 strikers in Rebecki and Johnson in rounds 2. I think he got performance of the night, both of those fights. Yeah, performance of the night, both of those fights. And then, Bobby getting finished. So it's not a really good look for Bobby at the moment. But I'm going to be doubting those thoughts and think that Green is going to come back strong. So that's kind of where I'm basing my pick off of. If not, I would be picking Ferreira. But like I said, I'm going to revisit this one. Let me know what you guys are picking for this one because I really do think this one's a really hard pick for me. I really don't want to be biased on this one, and that's why I'm kind of thinking like maybe I'm being biased. I can't really tell. But still, I'm going to be sticking with the Bobby Green pick. Let me know what you guys pick for this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So for this next fight, we have Gerald Meerschaert or GM3 versus Michał Oleksiejczuk. Man, guys, in this one, I was a little conflicted. But I'm going to be going with my gut, guys. I think GM3 is going to be able to submit Oleksiejczuk. If not, just win the fight. I don't know. I'm really doubting Michał on this one, even though Michał is a minus 205. GM3's a plus 175. That kind of surprises me a little bit. I think it should be a little bit more closer because, most of that thought is coming from me thinking that GM3 has fought the way better people. Yeah, Michał Oleksiejczuk has fought Shara Bullet, Kevin Holland, Michael Pereira, who I would say are all mostly strikers other than Holland, who has like some grappling edge too. And Michał Oleksiejczuk, his only recent win in the last 4 fights is freaking Dricus Dumas, So it's like, it's not really, I mean, he did finish him round 1 though. So it's just not that impressive. I don't know, man. And then for GM3, he's been fighting some really, really good guys. Brad Tavares, who's shown to still be a really good fight. He got beat up by Brad Tavares that fight. So it kind of worries me, actually. And then he fought Reiner de Ridder. He lost to him. And I would say he had like a bit of a war with Reiner de Ridder, even though I feel like he kind of broke in round 3, where that's where de Ridder was able to just finish him. And then before that, he triangle choked Edmund Shabazian. He choked out, rear naked choked by Bryan Barberena. He went split with Andre Petroski, lost. And then he lost to Joe Pyfer, who I would say is still an up-and-coming fighter. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with my gut on this one, guys. Another underdog, which it's kind of worrying me at this point. This is like the 4th underdog that I'm picking. Oh man, this was a really, really hard fight. I'm gonna go with my gut because I'm not convinced by Michał Oleksiejczuk. I think he's that's all he has. I think he's just a striker, like a power bomber who's just looking for that KO finish, which is cool. Love to see it. But I don't know, man. I think GM3 is gonna pull up an upset here. I think he's going to remind people that he's still not out. And I think he's going to show... No, I don't want to say he's going to show levels, but I think he's going to be able to pull this off. This is a really hard fight to call. I'm going to revisit this one. I think if Oleksiejczuk wins, I think it'll be by a finish, like a knockout finish over GM3. I think. But I just don't see that happening. I don't know. I'm going to go with my gut. Like I said, I'm going to stick with another underdog in GM3 at a plus 175. So let me know what you guys are picking for this one. Let's go with the next fight. All right, guys. So for this next WMMA fight, we have Jéssica Andrade versus Lupita Godinez. Man, this one, it was a hard call, but I'm gonna go with... I don't want to say my gut again. I don't think this is too much of a hard call in terms of like me going back and forth. I'm comfortably picking Lupita to win by decision. It just kind of makes more sense to me. I feel like she has more of a tool belt to beat Andrade. I think Godinez has the wrestling. I think she can mix in the wrestling, the striking, hopefully the feints in there just to kind of mess with Andrade. And then hopefully beat Andrade by decision. I kind of say kind of like unsurely because I'm not fully convinced. Andrade, she's still decent. She could maybe even KO Lupe, but I just don't see that happening. I don't think Andrade is the same as she used to be. I think Lupe should be able to use the striking to outpoint Andrade and maybe even mix in her grappling to, give a different look, maybe control some rounds by the grappling. Andrade, she's been having some trouble with, I wouldn't say some grapplers. I mean, she's lost to Jasmine Justavicius. She lost to Tatiana Suarez, Erin Blanchfield, who I would say are all mostly grappling based. And the last fighter that Jéssica Andrade has been is Marina Rodriguez, who is 40 years old now, 39. And she went split with Marina, who is more of a striker. And then she also, she beat Mackenzie Dern. She finished her, which I think, looking back, I think Mackenzie was banging with her. Maybe that's why she got finished. But anyways, I don't know. It just doesn't really look good for Andrade recently. I mean, Andrade has fought some really big names like Jasmine, obviously, Justavicius, the Canadian, who's on the rise, I would say. And Natalia Silva, who is pretty much going to be fighting for the title soon, I would say. So, man, this is a hard fight because I do think Andrade could get a win here. It's not, it's not like she's a huge underdog. She's a plus, 121. Lupita Godinez is a minus 141. So I kind of agree with the odds. I do slightly lean towards Lupe to win here with her more versatile, more fresher, more motivation on her side versus Andrade, who I feel like she's kind of been there, done that. I think she's just there mostly for the check. Yeah, she wants to win, but I think Lupe is really still going for that belt. And I think that's going to be a big factor here. I think Lupe's going to have more of a dog in her. So that's why I'm picking her. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So for this next fight, we have Chase Hooper or Roman Kopylov. I'm just kidding. Versus Alexander Hernandez. Man, guys, in this one, I'm comfortably picking Hooper, guys. I think he's looking great recently. I think even his striking has improved. Obviously, he's a really good grappler, and that's why I'm picking him round 2 submission over Hernandez. Right now, the odds have Hernandez at a plus 275. Chase Hooper is a minus 335. But I hate to say this, but I hate I put this fight into ChatGPT and I asked it what it thought about this one fight. I think I asked about what it thought about all the fights, but ChatGPT told me it was picking Hernandez to win by like a 60% chance. I was like, what, really? Even though I don't know if I knew the odds, but I was surprised that it said that. And maybe I considered it a little bit too much because I was like, maybe Hernandez could win, you know? But I don't know. I'm going to go with my gut and ignore ChatGPT. Alexander does have some decent wins recently over Kurt Holobaugh, Austin Hubbard, who I would say are decent overall fighters who are striking, grappling based overall. They're decent. But he's going to be fighting Chase Hooper, who is very good at grappling, and his striking is improving a lot. He's still really young. Chase Hooper's like 20. He's 25 years old, guys. Chase Hooper still has like literally 5 years to improve, and that's when he might even hit his prime. Even then, 5 years from now. So I think Chase Hooper's for sure improving. Alexander Hernandez is 32, so I would say he's in his prime at the moment. And I don't know. I'm looking at Alexander Hernandez's wins over Holobaugh, Hubbard. I'm just not impressed. Like they're decent guys, like I said, but he beat Jim Miller. He beat him up. He beat Clay Guida. He finished him in round 1. He beat Vachislav. He Darce choked him in round 2. He beat Jordan Levitt. He's been on a roll. He did lose to Aljamain Sterling in a grappling match, but that's a different type of style or a different type of sport. So I think Chase Hooper should be able to get the win here, even though ChatGPT said otherwise. He's a pretty moderate favorite at a -335. Hernandez a +275. So I don't want to think about this one too much because I think in my head, if I start thinking about what other people are saying or ChatGPT saying, then I might just get like not confident or maybe unconvinced. Because I don't know, I'd just be really surprised if Hernandez wins. I was when ChatGPT told me, I was like, really, Hernandez is gonna win? I don't know, man. I just don't really see it happening. I think Hernandez, he might be able to drop Hooper and like finish him, maybe even KO him. I just don't see that though. The last time Alexander Hernandez finished anybody was in 2021. Mike Reed in overhand right in round 1. So I don't think he's going to be able to recreate that over Chase Hooper, who the last time Chase Hooper lost was in 2022 versus Steve Garcia, who was a big power puncher, I would say. So I don't know. I think Chase Hooper has been improving, and I like the pick here. So let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. I sigh as I start this fight prediction for Drakkar Klose versus Edson Barboza because I'm really, really on the fence with this one, guys. I think it's like really 50-50. I'm going to go with my gut and pick Klose to win by decision, guys. But I'm not fully convinced at all. As you guys can see, Klose is an underdog. Again, I'm picking another. This is like the 5th underdog that I'm picking. He's a +140. Barboza's a -160. And I guess I kind of agree with the odds in a sense that they're close, and I think they should be. I think it should be 50-50. I think people are picking Edson Barboza because, he's a striking-based fighter, and I would say he's very, he's good at striking, and he's very technical, I would say. But Klose, I don't know, man. I think Klose is just going to find a way to win. They both have come off of recent losses to pretty decent fighters. Klose lost to Joel Alvarez. He got finished in round 1. And Barboza lost to Lerone Murphy by unanimous decision. And I picked Barboza to win in that fight. I don't know why. Thinking back. So, I don't know, guys. I just think Klose is going to be able to get this win. The win that Barboza has over Youssef is just not impressive. Youssef, ever since he lost to Barboza, he's been on a 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Edson Barboza, Diego Lopez, Myron Santos. Some big names in Diego Lopez. Myron Santos, not so much. So it doesn't really look too good. That didn't really age too well. He beat Billy Quarantino, who's 6-5, who lost to Youssef Zalal and to Cub Swanson. So I don't know. And then Drakkar Klose, the guy that he lost to, Joel Alvarez, he's 22-3. He's 7-2 in the UFC. He's up and comer or a prospect pretty much. And Klose is being Joaquin Silva, who's 13-5. Not the best people either, I would say. He beat Joe Schlecki in rounds 1, who was 5-4 in the UFC. So it's like neither guy honestly has really some great wins under their belt. But I just think Klose is gonna find a way to win. Klose hasn't really lost a fight twice in ever. Klose has never lost 2 fights in a row. As for Barboza, he has lost fights in a row. And I'm not saying just because of that MMA math or patterns. I don't know. I find it like interesting. So I think in this one, like I said, it's really a flip of a coin. I think I'm not going to be betting close on this one because I really do think Barboza has a really great chance to win here too, as long as he outstrikes Klose. Because I think this is going to be a striking match, unless Klose can turn it into a grappling match, which I think he should, Klose does throw in some grappling or some takedowns sometimes, but he doesn't have the best accuracy, and I wouldn't say that's his bread and butter. So I'm thinking this is going to be a striking match that goes to decision. That I can say for sure. I really do think it goes to decision. That's for sure. I'm like very confident in that. But I'm going to be picking Klose to win by decision. And I am only, another reason it adds to my unsureness is that it's another underdog that I'm picking, But I'm going to try to stick to my gut on some of these, all of these picks actually, and see if I stick to all these underdogs, So let me know what you guys think about this one. This is a close fight. You guys get it? I'm just kidding, but let's go to the next fight. Okay, guys, so for this next fight, we have Bryan Battle versus Nursulton Ruziboev. Man, this one, at first I picked Bryan Battle pretty confidently, but then I started kind of thinking about it, Ruziboev is a big guy. He has a long reach, which surprisingly, Bryan Battle has a 1 inch longer reach than he does. Battle has a 77-inch reach. Nursulton has a 76. So it kind of surprises me. I was thinking that Nursulton's, his height, I think he's like 6'5", 6'4". I thought his height was going to be able to, or not able to, but like give him like a longer reach, But Bryan Battle is the favorite at the moment too. Bryan Battle is minus 175. Nursulton is a plus 150. So that kind of like makes me feel a little bit better because I was siding with Bryan Battle. Then I started having doubts because of Nursulton's size and his aggressiveness, I would say. And maybe even his striking in general. I think Ruziboev he's not bad, he's pretty good. Ruziboev, his only recent loss came to Joaquin Buckley recently, not too long ago. And, Buckley's decent. He's not like the best. Obviously, he lost to Kamaru Usman recently. Nursulton is 36-9, so he has seen some losses before outside of the UFC. And then Nursulton has just beaten Dustin Stoichkov by decision and Eric Mechanico. He finished Eric Mechanico, so those are some decent wins, I would say. And then Bryan Battle, he's 12-2. He's 7-1 in the UFC, so that's kind of like mostly why I'm picking him because he's proven that he's beating these guys, and that Randy Brown win was pretty good, even though I think people were saying that might have been a robbery, maybe, if I remember correctly, and he missed weight. So it makes you think, like, could Bryan Battle lose this fight? Yeah, I do think so. I'm not crazy confident. I think the odds kind of reflect that. I think they should be a little tiny bit closer. Battle's a minus 175, Ruziboev plus 150. So I'm going to be sticking with the Battle pick, guys. I'm going to stick with it. I don't want to doubt myself too much, just because of what other people are saying. Because I have been listening to other people, picking Ruziboev, and I get it, Ruziboev is no joke. But I'm going to stick with the Battle pick, guys. I'm going to for sure revisit this one, maybe see some tape if I have to. And if I really do have to, I really don't want to bet on Bryan Battle, guys, because I really do think it's a close fight. And I think Battle takes it, but I'm going to be betting Ruziboev maybe to win by decision. Maybe a finish, but I don't think he's going to finish on Battle. I think if Battle loses, I think it might be like a split decision. Yeah, I really do think this fight is going to be ending in a split decision, guys. I think it'll be another split win for Bryan Battle. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about this one. This is a hard one to call again. But I'm going to be going with my gut again and picking Bryan Battle. So let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So for the first fight of the night, this coming Saturday, we have Karine Silva versus Dion Barboza, guys. If you guys didn't know, Dion Barboza took this fight on short notice. Silva was supposed to fight JJ Aldrich, but JJ got an injury, and that's why she's fighting Barboza now. I think JJ Aldrich pulled out because of an injury. That fight got canceled, so Barboza stepping in to fight Silva, and that's why she's a big underdog at a plus 190, and Silva's a minus 225. I thought it'd be a bigger odds in terms of Silva to win, honestly, guys. So I'm a little surprised that the odds aren't so heavily in Karine Silva's favor. I do think for sure that Karine Silva wins this one. Barboza is dangerous though. Barboza's 8-3, a grappler. She's a grappler, so she's never been submitted herself in the UFC, and she already is 2-1 in the UFC. Barboza recently triangle choked Diana Belbita, which I don't really, it's Belbita, so it's like not that impressive. As for Karine Silva, she's 18-5. She's 4-1 in the UFC, and she recently lost to Vivian Arahu, who Arahu has proven to be, obviously good. So I don't really blame her for that loss. So I'm thinking Silva for sure takes this one too. I think she's gonna win by decision, maybe a split. I don't see her getting submitted by Barboza. At least I don't think so. So I'm picking Barboza to win by decision. So let me know what you guys think about this one. I think it's a pretty simple pick, mostly because of the short notice fight for Barboza. I think that's going to be a big factor here, I don't know if Barboza is going to be in shape compared to Silva. She probably, is fight ready. But I don't know. I think Silva should be able to edge this out. Just because she's been prepping for this for a long time, she wants this win, and then Barboza, she's just kind of stepping in to save the day, which is good. I'm not saying that she doesn't want the win just as bad, but I think Silva takes this one. So let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So for this next fight, I actually don't know if this is going to be the first fight or if the Karine Silva is going to be the first fight. I would think the Karine versus Diana would be. So I'm not sure where Idris and Morales are going to be placed at. Maybe they're the first fight. But anyways, as you guys can see, I'm picking Idris to win by decision. I do think Idris for sure takes this one. I'm very comfortable with the pick. Mostly because I've seen some clips of him fighting, and he seems to be a grappler. He mixes in well with the striking, and he's undefeated. He's 10-0. He's from Kazakhstan, so that's pretty cool. He has a lot of KO finishes as well as decision wins, not as much submission wins, surprisingly. And then Joseph Morales, on the other hand, he's 12-2, which is pretty impressive. 30 years old. He's never been submitted. He's, I would say, a grappler in himself, if you guys look at his typology record. But he's 1-2 in the UFC. It looks like he got cut from the UFC after losing twice. Then he went to fight at Cage Warriors, got some wins. He choked out some guy in Uriah Faber's combat series. So I think Joseph Morales could pull off an upset, but the guy that he beat recently is 9-8 after that loss, Anthony Du. So it's not really that impressive, As for Idris, he's undefeated. The last win that he has was over a guy that was 10-3. So he's not fighting some schmucks. I think Idris is obviously decent. He's never lost, and he looks like he's actually pushing himself. He recently got that win over that 10-3 guy, Edilson Santos, and he finished him in round 1, ground and pound. And I don't think this is listing like the tough fights, because I'm pretty sure Idris is in The Ultimate Fighter, if I remember correctly, if I was listening correctly, because I saw some clip of him giving Daniel Cormier I think it was like a robe from where he's from. It looked pretty cool, actually. It was really nice. It was a nice clip. It seemed like Idris is like a big fan of DC, and like he respected him. So that's pretty cool. That was nice to see. I think Idris takes this one, guys. I'd be kind of surprised if Morales wins. I don't know where Morales is. I don't think he's from Tough. I don't think so. Yeah, I need to keep up with Tough more often, honestly, guys, because I don't watch Tough at all. So yeah, guys, I think Idris for sure takes this one by decision, maybe even a finish versus Joseph Morales. But I don't think so. I think Idris wins by decision. So yeah, guys, that was the last fight of the video. Let me know what you guys think about the video for UFC 319. Super excited. Like I said, I think I picked like 5 underdogs, at least 4. Hopefully, I don't want to say I'm gonna switch, but hopefully I stick with picks confidently. But there were some fights where I was like, really, really on the fence. This is a hard fight to call overall. I do think for sure some underdogs win, because I'm not going to be picking 5 underdogs and like no underdogs win. I think at least at this point, I think 3 underdogs win for sure. If not, hopefully the ones I picked, all 5. So I'm not too sure. I'm still very, very excited for this event, Plessis versus Chimaev. Literally crazy excited. Hoping DDP wins. That's what I'm mostly going for this coming Saturday night. If DDP wins, I don't really care about the rest, not to say like I don't care about my picks, but I really do want DDP to win, and getting good picks is secondary to that. So yeah, hopefully I get good picks and DDP wins. I like Chimaev too. He's cool, but I don't know. I just think DDP is gonna shock the world, as he says. So I'm excited. Let me know what you guys are picking for any of the fights. Let me know if you guys think I'm crazy for picking some of those underdogs. So speaking of the last couple events, I think I got 10 out of 12 picks right last weekend. You guys can see it here on the screen. 10 out of 12 picks right. I did go all favorites though, so I got the underdogs wrong in Philly winning and what's that guy say? McConaughey winning. Even though McConaughey, I think he robbed Brundage. But anyways, Philly, I think I should have seen that coming. But anyways, I'm still happy with 10 out of 12 picks right. That's what dropped me down actually. I was ranked 180 something, I think, something like that, and I dropped down to 233. But it's still champion ranked. You know, I'm not complaining. Seems like a lot of people did well last weekend. So 10 out of 12, not too upset. I got some perfect picks right there too. So hopefully I get double digits correct on this one too. If not, hopefully I just miss like 2 max. If not, hopefully I get them all right. So yeah, those are the results. Those are the results from last weekend, and that's what got me this ranking. And those are my results, and I'll show you guys my investment account balance. As you guys know, every week I bet $25 into the fights, and I also save the same amount every single week into this account, and it's been growing since then. It's a robo portfolio, so I don't really invest. It does the investing for me. So yeah, that's the balance. And guys, if you guys have been watching the channel for a while too, you guys would expect me to say I didn't make money last weekend, but I did, guys. I made money again 2 weeks in a row. So I'll show you guys my betting account balance, and as well as some of the bets that I won to get there. I have noticed that I think if I pick like maybe 2-3 people that I think are really gonna win, it seems like those bets are hitting rather than me making like a bunch of really long parlays. So yeah, guys, I had like $67 in my betting account balance after last weekend ended, and I think I made like a profit of what, like 10-15 bucks at least, around there. So yeah, guys, I'm up 10-15 bucks at $67. I already started placing bets for Dana White's Contender Series and for this coming weekend too, I think. I'm not sure if I did or not, but I already started placing some bets, and I'm up, guys. My betting account is up as well as my investment account, so that's new. That's great to know. I'm very excited for that. I'm hoping this betting strategy that I'm trying out is gonna be helpful and actually make me some money. Hopefully, you know, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, you know. This is all for fun at the end of the day. So yeah, guys, those are my results from last weekend. That's my current rank. That's my investment account balance and my betting account balance. All looking good so far. I'm really, really excited for this coming weekend on Saturday, UFC 319. I tend to do pretty decent on these numbered events. So very, very excited, and I do have my hopes up. Honestly, I'm excited to do well, and I kind of expect that, you know. So I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like I said, thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking, thank you for watching. Any like, any comment, any amount of time watching helps, guys. I really, really do appreciate it. We have 87 subscribers at the moment. So guys, we're almost at that goal of hitting 100 subscribers by the end of the summer. So if you guys can please subscribe if you guys haven't, I really, really would appreciate it. I'm trying to get 100 subscribers. So I'm only 13 away. So that's going to be a big milestone. And as you guys can see, I'm going to be posting videos as usual. And I'm excited to hopefully get #1 on Tapology one day. So yeah, guys, thanks so much. And I'll see you guys in the next video.
I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to outstrike him. You guys will see. I'm going to fuck the shit out of him too. You will see.
I love it.
I don't care. I want to smash everybody. I come here to fuck everybody, no?
Everyone talking about Pidion's the greatest guy, and you better win your fight because I'm coming on your ass, boy. I'm coming for that ass. Pause.
Congratulations. I'm coming. I'm coming!